Hello and welcome to another edition of From the Pastor's Heart. It's good to be back. We took Christmas off, but today I'd like to talk with you about surviving Christmas. Most of you know, if you've been following me for if you've known me for any length of time, that when I was in Indiana, I was blessed with the fact that there were 10 pastors that I used to pray with, and we prayed together every week. We did this for 12 years. And we ran the theological gambit. I mean, we had guys like me who only make right turns, as we would joke. We had others who were more moderate, even some who were liberals. And we would come together, and the one thing that we had in common was that we all loved the Lord and we all loved the church. And we were all solo pastors. And so we would come together, we would lift each other up. And I used to joke that if you put all 12 of us together, or all 10 of us together, we actually made one good pastor. That I can honestly say I'm a better person and I think I'm a better pastor because of the time I spent with those incredibly dear colleagues. One of the things that we used to do is in January we would all get together. We would come together at Marcia Smith Wood's house. And so, Marcia, if you're watching this, I love you, dear. And we would come together at sometime in the middle of January, and we would come together. We'd have a carry-in in the Midwest. We call them a carry-in dinner. Here in the Northeast, we call it a potluck. And we would come together and we would just share food. We would play cutthroat charades. I mean, just imagine there is nothing more funnier or more I don't know, just brutal than a bunch of pastors and their spouses playing charades with possibly an adult beverage involved in it and no repercussions whatsoever. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. But the reason that we did was because by the time January came, we were all exhausted. And we think about. I say this every year that every year I'm going to enjoy Advent more. And I love the Christmas season. I love preaching Christmas. I love the Christmas Eve service. It's actually my favorite service. But it's a lot of work. And especially for a solo pastor, we would get together and by the time Christmas came, we were all so exhausted that we could barely move. And it was like, we really didn't want to have to deal with one more thing. And so we would come together and we would just kind of let it all go. And so what I'd like to talk with you about is that especially if you are going to a church that has a solo pastor, by the time January comes, your pastor is completely wiped out. May even be sick that because the reserves just aren't there anymore. There's extra services to plan. You want those services to be special. There's maybe decorating involved. There's just a lot of stuff going on. Parties to plan, having to be there, and that I mean, for the most part, if you are just a normal person, that you don't have to be at everything, but your pastor does, and there's a lot of pressure, and so this is what I'm asking you to do. Okay, if you are watching this, and if you're going to a church, maybe a smaller church, and you have and you see your pastor by the end of Christmas, and you see that your pastor is just completely wiped out. What I would ask you to do is first of all pray for them. Okay, pray for their health because more pastors get sick in January, I think, than any other time. And the reason for that is they're just physically wiped out. And so maybe come alongside, but give them some extra grace in January, because a lot of times they're rapidly trying to catch up from what had to get let go during the Christmas season. Most churches have a their fiscal year begins in January, so they're getting ready for the annual meeting. They're doing all of their reports and so on, and so things sometimes can get left behind, and they could be running behind. And then they feel guilty because they're running behind. And so please give them some extra grace. Let them know how much you appreciate them. And especially that as you get started in this new year, and everybody, we're all trying to make these New Year's resolutions and so on. If you really want to make your pastor happy, I'm going to tell you how to do it. If you want to make his year, spend time in the Word. Spend time thinking it through, walking through it, and then asking God, what can you do to come alongside him or her to make their job easier? And because that's not something that happens very often. And so, especially in January, that would be a just a huge encouragement to your pastor. Allow them to be tired, and start the new year right. And so now, as you and I pastor a small church. I can't imagine pastoring a large church. I have no desire whatsoever. I have always pastored smaller churches because I like the fact that I get to know everybody. I get to see people, but yet the work is still there. And so, like I said, just come alongside them, let them know that they're valued, let them know that you care, and really, really start the new year right. So this is kind of a short one. This is just something on my mind. I'm not trying to make anybody feel guilty. I just want you to be aware, okay, that making it through Advent and making Advent as special as your pastor does for you, the cost is high. And make sure that your pastor's aware that you're there and you've got their back. So I thank you for making it to the end of this rant. I pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful time with your siblings in Christ as you are worshiping the Lord this week. And I look forward to seeing you again in a future video. God bless you all.